Hello, this is John from caveofprogramming.com, and in this tutorial we're going to look at list fragments. And list fragments enable you to display a list of things with a minimal amount of effort. So to support this example, I've created a course.java. I want to show a list of my courses in this case, and course.java is just this course bean which has a int, which is an image ID, and it has a string title and a string description. And I've also created a class courselist.java, and that just extends an array list of courses, and all it is in the constructor there I've added a bunch of new courses, new course objects to the array list. And I've also given course.java a string which just returns the title so that we can display it in a list. And the stuff that I'm about to show you, it would work as well with an array or an array list equally of strings. So this stuff isn't important, and it's just basically here a bean that contains some data and a list of beans, but we could use just an array of strings or something. So that's the data, and I'm going to right click my package here that I'm bunging everything into, and I'm going to create a new class, and I'll call this course list fragment, and I'll say that the superclass of this is going to be list fragment. Let's just click browse and select the appropriate class here in the right package, and I'll click finish. And here's my list fragment, and I don't need to do much work to get this to display a list. At the minimum, all I really need to do is I'm going to right click here, go to source, override implement methods, and let's override the onCreate method from fragment. So we've got this somewhere in here, we've got onCreate. So I'll override that. And of course, by default, when you override a method in Eclipse, it calls the superclass version of that method. And don't forget to leave that in, because this actually won't work without a call to the superclass onCreate. So you need to have that there. And then I'm just going to give this some data. So let's say private course list courses equals new course list. New course list, and as I said before, this could just be a list of strings or something if you prefer. And I'm going to create an array adapter here. Let's use an array adapter. It could be an array adapter, whoops, not list, array adapter, and it could be an array adapter of strings, but I'm going to make it an array adapter of my course objects. And I will say I'll call this adapter and set it equal to new array adapter. And for the context here, I'm going to use the fragment method getActivity. And for the text view resource ID, let's use a standard layout android.r.id.simple not ID actually, android.r.layout.simple list item 1. That should do the trick. And for the last argument, this is where you supply your array or your list. So I'll supply my courses, which just extends array list. And I'll save that and see how it looks. It looks good. And then let's call set list adapter and pass in the adapter there. And that's all we need to do to implement this fragment at the most basic level. So now I'll add that to my layout. I'll go to my main activity layout here, activity_main.xml, and let's just copy this one as an example. And now instead of com.caveofprogramming.android.fragments product fragment, I'm going to have here course list fragment, and you have to make sure that you get this all correct to refer to your fragment. Let's give it an ID of list, and the layout settings can remain the same, and I'll already run that so we can see how it looks. And now there's one other thing that I'd like to do here, which is if I go to my course list fragment.java, then I'm also I want to respond to item clicks. And I'm not going to do much with it for the moment, but I just want to show you how to respond to item clicks. So in my fragment Java here, I'm just going to right click and go to source override implement methods, and I'm going to override the on list item click method. I can see that it's actually run on my phone, but I'll show you the screencast here. It's quite dreadful because I forgot some crucial layout. There's my list, but I forgot some crucial layout parameters. So what I'll do is I'll go to my activity_main.xml, and I forgot to say this is actually a relative layout, and I forgot to say that I want to say layout below, and for the ID here at sign ID / product, I want to put it below my product fragment here. And let's also say center horizontal. That might be nice as well, or not, I don't know. In fact, let's also make the other one center horizontal true. There we go. And I'll run that again. And back to course list fragment.java now. We'll deal with this on click thing here. So when an item's clicked, we're going to get the position of it in this list. So let's say course in this case, and it could be a string or something. Course equals courses dot get, and supply the position there, position. And just to do something with it for the moment, let's say toast.make text. For the context, again, I passed get activity. For the text, let's say course.get description, and let's just pop it up briefly. Let's say toast.length short and .show. And I see on my phone now this looks pretty good. I'll just show you that. There we go. Looks a lot better. And let's just run this. And we're going to look shortly at communication between fragments, which will be somewhat familiar to you if you've done any kind of GUI programming at all. But for this tutorial, we'll just stick to getting this list fragment working so that I've got two fragments to work with that I can demonstrate to you. So it's up on my phone now, and there it is. It's not the prettiest thing in the world because I haven't taken a whole lot of trouble about it. And actually it's worth mentioning, if you look at the list fragment API page in Android, it shows you how to supply custom formatting for this fragment, and I probably won't go into that, but I'm sure you can work it out yourself from the API page. It's pretty simple, but I'll probably just leave it at default formatting. So now if I click on one of these, we're going to see a toast. There we go, and we've got a description that describes my course. Bit of free advertising for me. Okay, so that's it for this tutorial, and we're going to do some more work with fragments in the next tutorial, and until then, happy coding.